The copies that I made you, the changes, the changed copies. Do you have more?
It's someplace.
Here. Let's just, okay,
You'll be handing them out.
okay, well,
I don't know.
there you go. They have them. Lonnie, I gave you one.
Lonnie knows what it is.
Got it.
Charlie knows what it is. It just.
Okay, it's just those three guys, I guess. We'll pass them down.
You want Jeremy to have one as
Oh,
much as
yeah, I think I got him.
Isn't gonna say a word.
All right, we're gonna, we'll call, meeting to order here. We'll call roll.
Gehring? Jacobson?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Jaden?
Yes.
Euchre?
Yes.
Waltner?
Present.
Minutes of last meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Vouchers and salaries. Questions? They've all been signed, correct?
Motion approved.
Call roll.
Sorry.
Yes.
Jaden?
Yes.
Euchre?
Yes.
Waltner?
Yes.
Gehring?
Yes.
Jacobson?
Yes.
Financial report.
Motion approved.
Second? Is there a second?
Second.
Charlie, and call roll.
Jaden?
Yes.
Euchre?
Yes.
Waltner?
Yes.
Gehring? Jacobson?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Fence ordinance would be the second reading. We met with the zoning board previously prior to this.
Yeah, I make a motion to bring it off the table.
I'll second that.
Roll.
Euchre?
Yes.
Waltner?
Yes.
Gehring?
No.
Jacobson?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Jaden?
Yes.
The next step would be to have the second reading. Am I correct, Lonnie?
Yes.
And it was publicized, is that correct? It was,
No, it will be after the second reading. Well,
But-
you mean for people to see?
right,
It was in the minutes, it
It should
did
have been
appear.
in the minutes.
okay.
But
Now it'll be published as is on standalone,
Correct,
and
but I,
there's 20 days from publication to take a petition out and stop it if you want.
Okay.
Or to force a vote to stop it
okay, all right.
From publication.
from,
Right.
from publication.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve?
All the changes were made that I think we requested last time,
Right.
that, at the last meeting that we requested. And planning and zoning met tonight, and they went through it, and the only thing that came up was number 7. And it fits the bill. Just be aware that the traffic visibility triangle in our definition of the ordinance is the fence can only be 2.5 foot tall. But it's covered under 7 for the visibility triangle, so we don't have to specify it out.
Okay,
And that's 30 foot unless it's a street like 6th Street or 5th Street or whatever,
Right.
then it's 50 foot.
okay. That was the only problem zoning had?
No, that wasn't a problem, just
I mean,
clarifying that
clarification,
there.
that was the only
yeah.
clarification. Okay, cool. I'll second it.
Call roll.
Waltner?
Yes.
Gehring?
No.
Jacobson?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Jaden?
Yes.
Euchre?
Yes.
Any other old business? If not, I'm going to excuse me,
Motion to adjourn.
is there a second?
Second.
You can call roll.
Gehring,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre.
Yes.
Weltner,
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jacobson. Call roll to start.
Gehring,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Weltner,
Yes.
Okay, we've got, what do we have here? I've got it here. I need Mr. Sari, Mr. Jaden, and Mr. Euchre to stand up. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of alderman for the city of Freeman, Hutchinson County, to the best of your ability? If so, respond by saying, "I will."
I will.
You are now officially sworn in. And I've got pieces of paper here that you can sign afterwards. Okay. Ward 3 appointment. I am appointing Tabitha Shanewall to fill Terry's seat. I have talked to her, and she will take it will be a one-year appointment. She's starting at the next meeting.
I'd like Terry to fill that position.
He would have taken on a petition.
She didn't either.
He what?
She didn't either.
No, she took an appointment.
But I'd like to offer the position back to Terry, because he's been good on the council. He's
Well, I'm not
willing to do
arguing.
another
I
term.
figured he wanted off because he didn't take a petition on it.
Did you ask him?
I don't have to. I didn't think it was necessary.
Well, I think he'd still be good. He's willing to take another term for 1 year.
I do one more year. If the council sees fit.
It's the council's vote. Council votes on it.
Well, then I'll put his nomination in for appointment.
You're all right with that, Terry? Yeah. The reason I didn't take out petition, and partially my own fault because time got away from me with sports going on. I don't quit anything halfway through. And my understanding is when you take out petition, it's a 2-year deal. That I cannot fulfill as a 2-year commitment. I can fulfill another year commitment, but I cannot fulfill a 2-year commitment. So I'm open to another year of doing it, but after this year, I will be out.
It's up to the council.
I think he's done a spectacular job, particularly when interacting and with citizens that are upset about whatever. I mean, it's happened many times, and he's done an excellent job, so I'm going to support Terry for reappointment.
The second.
Yes.
Call roll.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Weltner,
Yes.
Gehring,
Yes.
Okay.
Done. Well,
The,
Appreciate it.
I need an election of president and vice president of council. We'll start with president.
I nominate Blaine, sorry, for president of
I close the nominations.
I cast unanimous ballot.
This is just like the fire department. A train comes through.
didn't you hear the whistle, did you?
No, no. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Sure you are.
Okay.
You'll be all right.
Okay.
We'll help you.
All right.
We'll help you.
Okay. Well, thank you, I think.
Do we need a vote? I'm not even sure. If that
Yes,
requires a
we need-
vote.
Well, we should have a vote, yes.
That was a motion.
There's a motion.
And Charlie
Has a motion.
seconded.
okay. Yeah.
All those in
Charlotte.
favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Vice President.
I'll let somebody else put the knife in somebody.
Lonnie Drayton.
I'll second that.
I was thinking that end of the table.
Committee appointments are gonna stay the same then. I may change them down the road, but for now, we will, unless,
I think they're working good and everybody's got their own little problems.
there's some glitches. I'm going to put, we need to address this, and will probably be the next meeting. We are not, either we change the ordinance, or, you know, and when I got on, you know, that was the least of my concerns and so forth. I looked, and so forth. There should be two people, you know, on some things. I think we should I don't think there needs to be three people on the water and the sewer. Two is adequate, but the ordinance, so let's revisit, let's leave everything the same now. Let's revisit that ordinance at the next meeting, when we have probably a little more time, and either change the ordinance or, because, yeah, we're not following, we did not, last year, we did not follow the ordinance. And I think the ordinance needs to be
We've
changed.
added the golf course, we've added stuff too. So.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it just needs to be updated. We don't need 3 aldermen on the sewer committee, we don't need 3 aldermen on the water committee, some of those things.
We need 3 aldermen on the Tree City Committee, so we have more people to help
That's-
plant trees.
That was the first thing, 3 people on the Tree City committee, that was
You
the
just want
first
free
thing.
labor?
Yes.
There are some things we do not have enough people on, or any on,
I
and there's too many on.
agree.
That ordinance was probably made, goodness knows how long ago. So let's address that at the next meeting, if that sounds fair to everybody. And, because it'll have to be done via ordinance, I'm sure.
Do I need to take them off
Yeah, you should.
before we go any further?
I'm sorry?
I need to take an oath before we go any further.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We don't want you subverting our constitution, we got enough of that.
You need to take it home.
Does he always was grinning?
So,
Want to get my good side?
okay, Mr. Terry Jacobson, please stand it. Okay, you got that done. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of alderman for the city of Freeman, Hutchinson County, to the best of your ability? If so, respond by saying, "I will." Thank you. The Planning Commission, they met prior. They are Reno Huber, Krista Helma, Randy Kerner, Jennifer Stuckey, Charlie Waltner, and I will be appointing them to the Planning and Zoning Commission, reappointing them back. And I need a motion.
Motion to approve the appointments to the planning and zoning committee?
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Newspaper and bank designations. Any changes?
Well, it's all 3 banks.
Everything's whatever was last year, no changes,
Make a motion to
continue.
approve the same as last year.
Second that.
I am appointing Mike Fink to be city attorney for the upcoming year. He sent me a contract. It's going to be basically the same contract we had with him last year. The difference is he did not put I'm not sure, the conflict attorney. He did not name a conflict attorney because typically he said if we need a conflict attorney, it's usually specified area of law that we're looking at.
And he'll
And so we
recommend,
just enlisted because I thought it was foolish. Otherwise, it would be the same thing. I would need a motion to sign the contract with Michael Fink for another year.
So moved.
Second.
Call roll.
Gary,
Yes.
sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner.
Yes.
One more thing, Joanne, then I'll get you on.
Thank you.
Hope Lutheran Church, I think, did you get the
I got
paperwork
the
on that?
request. Yes, I got it.
It's in the.
Yes, I would make a motion.
Second.
Call roll.
Sorry,
Yes.
Get your stuff cleaned out.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Jacobson.
Yes.
Oh, just a minute. I missed you on the
I
other
said
one.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think we should quickly call roll on the newspaper bank.
Yes, thank you. Waltner,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Gary,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm more concerned about Joanne, Lonnie.
I hear you.
The Chisholm Committee is here, and I think they would like, if you want to move that to the center, if you're both going to speak, you can both stand up, or whomever.
Well, first, for those who don't know me, I'm Joanne Smith. I like to think the better half of the Casey Hofer Joanne Smith duo. And I'm here today as the chairman of the Public Relations Committee to do two things. One, give you an update of where we are with the festival, and two, to ask for a waiver to Chapter 6.0711, Section 3 of the City Ordinance for the South Dakota Chisholm Festival to allot Scott Brewer to determine the amount of security guards. I will.
What's that number again?
I feel like I'm on Dragnet. Does that age me?
No, I watch it too.
6.0711, Section 3. I'll briefly give you the update on the festival, and then I will let Scott have the floor. Colleen Schultz, who you know, is the chairman of our infrastructure committee, and she will be the chief interface with Scott working on this, and this is going to be something we'll be working on a long time. I've got a handout for you just briefly. I didn't bring my big map, simply because when you come to the festival, it will look exactly like you saw it in 2019. Our intent is to build on the success that we think we had in 2019 and not change anything that really is not broken. There are a couple main changes that I want to go through, so I want it to just,
Jeremy, do you have one?
Jeremy, did I get you
No,
that one?
I
I'm sorry.
You gave me one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is again, the objective of the festival is to develop a premium regional food festival. We think we can benefit our community, extended community, our local businesses, bring in tax dollars. We're a nonprofit organization. We raise money in two ways. Like most nonprofits of festivals, we have sponsorship. We have festival-driven funding. In 2019, we had a Chislik booth and sold Chislik, and we sold merchandise. The big change for this year is the festival will also be selling the alcohol and maintaining the profits for the festival. The craft beer will be poured by Ben's Brewery out of Yankton, and the Freeman Fire Department will be serving the canned beer for the festival this year, which really pleases me very much. The next change is really in the structure of our governing body. We changed from the board of directors from 8 to 11 individuals. You'll see on the list of the board of directors, a lot of fresh new faces, which we're grateful for fresh ideas. When you look at the chairman of the committee ships, you'll see a lot of old faces, like mine and Colleen's. You can't get rid of us. The one change that is probably most obvious is that Joshua Hofer, who had the initial idea for the festival, is no longer part of the festival. Now, if you don't know some of these great young people who are on our board, check our website, because they're biographies and pictures of all of these board members, and so you can learn a little bit about the individuals. The flip side kind of tells you where we're at. We're looking at, obviously, the 31st, and we're kind of 4,000 to 6,000 people. About 20 food vendors, we're looking at 5,000, dozen sticks of Chislik, with the same kind of supporting cast of food we had last time. We're gonna have a lot of non-food vendors for shopping. We'll have bean bags like we did before. New addition is we're going to have a large bingo tent. Mogan's Heroes is going to be our headliner, just as he was in 2019. There are a lot of other things they're trying to finalize. The Church of God in Marion will be managing our kids zone, and we're excited about that. Other opportunities, the Food Lions, again on Friday night, are going to be having a barbecue. They did really well in 2019, and we're excited they're going to do it again. We've got the mutton run that the Salem Home is doing, and we're excited they did well enough to want to do it again. And the Heritage Hall Museum and Archives will be open and charging an admission. Those are kind of the highlights. As usual, this is not one person, it's not a board, it's not the committees. This takes a village, and it's based on a lot of people in this community volunteering to make it happen. And so I want to take this opportunity to thank those who volunteered. And if any of you have not had the opportunity to go to our website and sign up to be a volunteer, I'd be happy to talk to any of you after the meeting to help you sign up to volunteer. And if you haven't had a chance to sign up to be a sponsor, I'd be willing to help you sign up to be a sponsor too. I hope I didn't go too fast, but I didn't want to take up too much of your time. Can I answer any questions for you?
How many people did you have in 2019?
It's hard to tell because it was spread out over so many days. Best we can tell is maybe 5,000.
It was a nice venue. I mean, it just, people flowed through there all day long.
Well, the only reason I ask is because people have been cooped up for a year, and now all of a sudden things are happening. I don't know.
Well, we've been talking a lot about that. And in our initial meeting, I think Mr. Baltimore thought we were going to have a Metallica concert.
Yeah.
And I said, no, we're Freeman, and the headliner was my college classmate, and this year's our 50th reunion, so we're a little more toned down. But I think it's legitimate to have a concern, and that's why we said we're going to watch the buzz on our social media. And there's a series of festivals happening in May, in June, and early July. And we're going to keep watching and monitoring those and working closely enough that we figure we can adjust week by week if we feel we have to adjust the security levels. Colleen's got all the connections in terms of the infrastructure, the sanitation, the trash, the transportation. And they know we may have to juggle a bit. We over-planned in 2019 because we had such a bad rap in 2018. And we said we had to get it right. And the State Department of Tourism said you'll get 12,000 people, which we did not want because we thought it would overwhelm us and Freeman. But we put in infrastructure for 8,000 and we over-infrastructured.
The waiver that you're asking to be amended? What is the parts that you're asking to be changed there?
I don't want the 8,962 security guards. I just,
Is that, there's a number of certain amount of
oh,
people
there's a number of
versus?
people, and then for every 100 over this, it's X amount more security guards. And what we're really asking is not for you to change, not for you to change that particular ordinance right now, although I think it could be changed, but I want you to defer to Scott to be able to work with us to determine what the right level is.
Yeah, we did that in
Joanne?
2019.
Can
Yeah,
I explain
yeah.
to the rest of the council what that number is?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So 607 falls under alcoholic beverage, okay? 60711, section 3 says security requirements.
Yep.
So how it reads is, at any public gathering at which alcoholic beverages will be available for consumption, the licensee shall be required to have security guards in the following proportions. Up to 25 attendees, 2 security guards. From 25 to 100 attendees, 4 security guards. In excess of 100 attendees, 2 security guards for every 50 attendees.
Okay. Yeah, I see,
So that's
I see your point.
That's what she's referring to.
Yeah,
So I think the question you have to ask yourself is that, because throughout the whole day, you're gonna bring in, say, 5,000-6,000 people. So at the most, at any given time, do you think you'll have within that
The peak is probably gonna be the 4 to 8 o'clock time period. And we had 9 officers last year to me, 2019. And the poor guys were bored to tears, even during the supper hour. And so in our conversations with Scott, it's let's stagger based on when we think the people can come in and have the officers available so that we can make shifts based on kind of the level of crowd control. And so I guess we're just saying, if you could put that into Scott's hands, we could work with him on a weekly basis or as often as we, see the changes to be able to.
I think that ordinance was kind of put in place for the community center, things like that, so this is way out of the scope of that.
Well, in 2019, when we
Right,
asked for
right.
the variance, I threw my husband under the bus in Michael's class and said it was their fault. And Lonnie said, no, that Casey maybe probably was guilty of a lot of things, but not for causing that not for causing that to be on the books.
I think what's also for the alcohol, you have an area where they're only allowed for the alcohol.
Yeah, the alcohol is gonna be confined to the same area that you would have seen it confined in last year. Which is a very small area. There's a alcohol tent, which is right within the area where the food booths are. It's between the road that follows the back of the museum, and then there is the seating for the clam show. And it's all really in between that area and between the interpretive center and over. The kid zone is totally alcohol-free. And the only way any of that is kind of gonna change is we've have to have a backup plan if it rains, that we're working with Ted Petey on for how you'd adjust to keep the heavy equipment and the heavy food trucks off the grass, so you would keep some of them on the gravel. But that would not change the alcohol area, it would just change where some of the food went.
So do we need to make a motion to adhere to that ordinance?
Well, to waive it and put it into Scott's hands.
Yeah. So I make a
So-
motion to waive that and put it into the hands of the chief of police that's in South Dakota.
And I second that.
Call roll.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring, Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the trust you have put into us.
Well, thank you for doing all the work for a nice event. It's good for Freeman, so thank you.
And want you to know that we'll also be working very closely with Scott on traffic and parking. We're gonna use a similar traffic pattern where we're bringing in traffic off of 81 as quickly as possible, either on the north or south county roads. So we're keeping the center open for any kind of ambulance traffic, and we're being protective of the area around the hospital in St. Paul's in case you have a helicopter that needs to come in. And so we will work that and have maps available at a later date.
Very good.
You're comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Colleen, you have something to add?
She's just the engine, and I sit here looking at her caboose. So we're good. It's all good. No, we're good. The whole deal is 2019 was awesome. It was great to walk around the grounds that day because we lived through 2018. I don't know how many of you were part of that spectacle. But all we want to do is replicate the success we had in 2019 because it was really great to hear, hey, nice job. Because there, as you would expect, was a lot of controversy over 10,000 people swarming Freeman in 2018. And to take that all, flip it over, turn it around, and have those same people who were staunchly against the presence of this kind of festival in Freeman look at me and just do this with mouthfuls of beer and chislik. You know, that was it. That's all we really want to go for again in 2021. Understand the part about people being hungry. We've all been in little boxes for quite a while, but that's the beauty of having 40 acres and 10 hours to work the festival. And you'll very distinctly see that there'll be an early crowd, your lunch crowd, if you will, and then, you know, a little gap of time and people will come in again later on in the evening. Even at the high point last year, I'd give it somewhere between 300 and 3,500 people on that 40 acres at one time max. So,
And all of our promotion for the festival is promoting it as Freeman's family-friendly Chislik Festival. It's not being billed as a big concert with food.
yep. We're trying to do you right, guys.
No, thank you very much.
Do the community right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We don't take nothing wrong, you guys do.
But we will be back to talk to you, Blaine, since you're on the sanitation committee, because
Yeah, you and I have to talk trash.
All right.
All right.
Councilman,
Thank you.
Councilman, do you have anything else for Joanna or Colleen?
Anybody?
We're good? Thank you so much for
Commend you on your
stopping in.
project.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
and
Thank you.
anytime you want us back to answer questions, we'll be happy to do so.
Thanks, Joanne.
Thank you very much, Joan.
We'll do
Not,
that.
not,
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joanne.
not now.
There, guys.
Swimming pool rights.
Yes, oh, hang on a minute.
The one item missing from the previous rates is $22 per child for swimming lessons.
Yeah, and I'm not setting that until I talk to Taylor and what we have set up for lessons.
Okay, yeah.
I think we had a little bit talked about rates, and I think what's in there right now?
Which one's?
What do you have listed?
Family is 70, it's in your packet too. Individual,
Okay.
adult is
All right.
55 for a season pass,
Yeah.
child 40.
I would like to change those rates,
Okay.
and I'd like to make the single child season pass 45. The single adult season pass, 65. And the family pass, 80. The daily price, child will still stay at $250, and adult will go up $450 to $450.
What
Those
about
are
high
not
school?
what we're on here.
What about
This
high
is what we
school?
discussed.
This-
We discussed this.
These were the last 2 years.
Right, no, but he discussed the rate increase
Yeah.
last time and
Yeah.
We never, I don't know, I think we just went child being up to high school age.
I got these from what Lisa had on file. These were the
Okay,
numbers.
these weren't what I had last year, from last year's. I took this was what we had
So
printed last year.
We have to clarify, because if we're gonna do a high school and elementary, middle school, you need to clarify, it just says ages 6 and up.
I didn't,
I know, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, as a council, we need to clarify what's considered to be a high school, what age, and what age is not. You know, do you do, and if that's what we're gonna do, or are we just gonna do all the way through senior?
Let's do all the way through senior
I was
as
gonna
to
say
the
it's 50
child
cents.
age.
Just get rid of, yeah.
Yeah, just make it easy.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And then $450 for an adult. That's what I'd like to say.
What-
So it'd be $250 for child, $450 for adult.
You just made up the 50 cents.
And I also raised the season passes a little bit.
Yeah, that's.
We haven't done it for a while,
Yep.
so it was time.
Yep.
That would be my recommendation. I guess that's my motion.
So read your motion.
My motion would be to have a season passes as a single child at 45, a single adult at 65, a family at 80. The daily passes, I'll keep a child from small till senior at $250, an adult at $450.
And children under 5 with a paying adult free, and children 5 and under with no paying adult $1. That's what it says on this.
Yeah, that is.
Do you want to leave that in there?
I think I was just gonna leave it the way I have it stated.
so what do we do with,
You want it to stay as your motion, original motion that you just made?
Well, all that changes is children under 5 without a paying adult would be free,
Yeah, we can do.
because our
we can-
age is 6 to 18.
Yeah, we can do it from
Charge.
6 to 18, and then anything under would be free.
You have the
I
motion?
have it.
You're sure? You got it, okay, then I'm looking for a second.
I'll second that.
Blaine, call the roll.
Euchre,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gehring,
Yeah.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Well, if we're on the pool, I'm kind of tentatively looking at Saturday, May 29th. Is it possible, do we, to have the pool ready by then, if the weather's cooperating?
Yeah, we're starting on it now, and I got one big water leak.
A hungry rodent again? A hungry rodent again?
No, it's in the water line coming in.
Oh, okay.
Couple things broke. Otherwise, we're starting to drain it. Should work pretty good.
Saw that.
So,
Enough chlorine?
I did talk to Taylor, and she thinks she can staff it, so it's gonna be weather related. Typically, it's cold, but who knows this year? We could have a 90-degree day,
You're saying May 29th?
May 29th.
Is that Memorial?
That's a Saturday, that's a
Yes.
weekend. And that's my tentative, and that could change according to weather and if something comes up.
That's
my
tentative.
plan.
That's tentative.
That's the plan.
Okay. School's out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they get out of school.
Week before that about,
15th or something?
Yeah.
18's the last day.
18th?
so.
at the public.
That's right.
Okay. Library.
Oh, okay. Leanne was going to be here to present that to us,
We can skip one down.
but her.
I have the summary
Yeah.
with it, though.
But her stepmother passed away.
Oh, okay.
So I told her she should not worry about this, and I'll try to wing through it. Kind of the last thing of my thoughts today, but. She has an opportunity to apply for a grant. It's a big grant that the state has out there. And she's looking at things to use for the different programs they're offering, and also the robotics program, the STEAM program, and other activities that they're doing at the library, plus potentially adding more language opportunities for people in the community too. So she's applying for the grant. The grant is 100% covers all the expenses. The only thing is we're going to have to cover the expenses until we get reimbursed. So there'll be probably a
Is it
9.
like our COVID grants where
No.
you're gonna pay for it and you may or may not get the
No.
grant?
No.
Or we're
No.
gonna know the
No.
grant?
We'll know it when we get it. We're assured
Sure.
of it. But it's going to take. She said it could be up to 9 months before once we submit the bills that we're going to get paid.
But we'll know prior to the.
We'll know prior.
submission.
As long as we know prior, I don't
Yeah,
have a problem.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
To 100,000, no more than that.
Right.
She's got 24,025 bucks.
Yeah. And it looks like there's possibilities that this will be coming around again, that she could apply again. And she's got some other ideas for some other futures, but this is what she'd like to go for.
What's the length of it? How long is it? What's the duration?
Duration of, you mean until it's awarded?
No, how long is it good for?
To apply.
The
Oh,
2.19.
we have to get the application in by next Friday.
I think, yeah, it opens, May 10 or something
Yeah.
like that.
We
and-
thought we had to have it in by this weekend, and she said, actually, we have a little more time than just this weekend. And she's got most everything written up already.
Right.
So the basic is just blessing with the council to approve.
You want a blessing or you want a resolution?
Well, we want a
I
resolution.
think you're gonna need a resolution.
We'll need a resolution, but that would be the blessing from the council to let her.
How do you wanna
apply for
verbalize that?
the grant. What would be the proper
To
verb?
apply?
Apply for a reimbursement grant.
And pay for,
And we will be
If
paying for it, but
approved,
it'll
if
be
approved.
reimbursed. by-
Based on the approval of the grant from the state library.
Correct.
yeah.
Nothing will happen until we have gotten
Yes, you get this money.
you
Right.
get this money, a signed letter, not just a verbal, but a signed letter showing that we will get the money.
Second.
Waltner,
Yes.
Garing,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Euchre.
Yes.
Okay, parking ordinance. I don't know, you got,
Yeah,
that's,
those three.
you hand 'em along?
Everybody else has them.
okay,
Give them your sheet. I gave you.
this is the cleaned up version. If you have, you should have the cleaned up version.
This is different from the one in your packet.
This is the cleaned up, yeah,
They have the
This,
cleaned up one version?
Michael
I'll
just
hand
gave
out to
3 copies.
from an hour ago.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know if they had it.
They
That's
don't-
what you
don't-
just passed.
Okay.
We've been, this has been going on for quite a while and so forth. We've been talking with Mr. Brewer, talking with Mr. Fink and so forth. And it needs to be, I mean, with parking everywhere and so forth. We're not talking on city property, public property and so forth. We're talking about private property. Mr. Fink contacted me, thought he had an ordinance and so forth. We found this ordinance and so forth. I gave it to Mr. Fink. He legalized it, if you will, to fit into our ordinance book. He recommended that it go into the zoning ordinance section, not the city ordinance. That's why, if you have it, you'll probably see there's some repeals and so forth. That's why he took care of some other things. Repealed some redundancy and so forth. I met with the zoning board, of whom Charlie and, Mr. Waltner and Mr. Jaden are on, and I ran it by them to make sure, because, to make sure that, to clean it up, to make sure that there weren't any problems, that we could run into any problems down the road. The more eyes you put on something like that. We did make 3 changes. The changes were to number 3, I believe it was.
Number 2C
Was it 2C?
and 3.
Yeah.
And
3, we added gravel, and
7.
seven, we added gravel. And so forth. My recommendation is, and, yeah, talk to the zoning board and so forth, and make sure that there's contractors and so forth, and make sure we're not missing something, or that we're impinging on something improperly, and so forth. And my recommendation would then be for you just is we would give this a first reading. And I would encourage, when we have a second reading, which would be May 19th, I think I would feel comfortable if Mr. Fink would be invited to that meeting. Because there could be some other issues that the zoning board brought up and so forth. I think Lonnie brought up some very, I can't even remember what they were, Lonnie, if you want to know the truth, but there were some things that we probably need to, as far as grandfather, whether we can grandfather certain things in and so forth. I don't think any of us would be experienced enough, and if Mr. Fink's available, I'd like him here for the second reading of that we could answer those before we would give it a second reading.
And this has nothing to do, to be clear, nothing to do with the boulevard parking between the sidewalk and the street. That's public property. So if you're parking in front of your house now, you're still, I mean, you don't have to have gravel or cement or oil or nothing. You park there yet. This is strictly on private property.
I have a hard time asking permission to park in my yard.
Make a parking pad.
No,
It's the intent.
no.
Like, I have a, we work on houses, so you put it, I got a dump trailer, put it in the yard for a couple of weeks. Is there a permit I need to come get for that then, or how are you gonna handle that? Because,
That's one of the questions that was asked and really was a gray area, never answered.
because it's a necessity,
Yes,
so.
it's a necessity.
We just need to figure it out how we handle that, I guess.
It would,
Because if we're looking at controlling, or, I don't know if that's the right word or not. or-
Permitting.
Yeah, having a permit of some sort, or something that I can come down here and get it, and,
I can't find
I can't speak for anybody else, but like I just said, you can have one hell of a time getting me to ask permission to park where I want to park in my yard. That's my yard, I bought it, I paid for it, it's mine.
Blaine,
I think
that's a very good question, and that's why I would like you
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Yep.
I thought it was covered in here,
I didn't see it, but, it's.
and well,
but
now,
maybe-
you got me looking for it. I've groomed it, the first reading, I've tried to be very thorough, I don't know if my
Yes.
verbiage, grooming it
First
is,
reading for a reason.
yes.
Conditional
Grooming it,
use.
and I, hence I went through to the zoning board, okay? That's why I went to that meeting at 5:30, because I'm looking for input, and this is a rather large ordinance encompassing the whole town and affecting a lot of people.
Sure.
And I don't wanna do something and then 6 months down the road, so I would feel more comfortable having Mr. Fink sitting here, and we've had time to look at this, pick it apart, find problems, ask him questions, see where, we would not be changing the scope or the intent, but maybe doing like what we did at the zoning, add the word gravel, instead of not having the word gravel on there. To 7, for instance, we added the word gravel,
Sure.
because that was an obvious,
And this ordinance, I'm assuming, isn't one that we just drew up? I mean, it's one that actually.
this is an
another town
actual
has-
ordinance from elsewhere.
Yeah, so other towns do have.
It is, that's
do
been,
have
that's
this
been massaged to try to suit Freeman as well as
To
we
a
can.
smaller town, yeah, okay.
Number 4 refers to conditional use.
Use permits.
Permit, if
Yeah, the
that's,
conditional use permit.
Okay.
I didn't wanna, yeah,
That's in the rear yards, but it will be in the front yard.
then it isn't. Then you gotta meet the specifications, but that's what we were talking, I mean,
How do you?
believe me, I brought up the same thing Charlie's bringing up now, didn't I?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes,
we
you did.
hashed it out, and it's not a done deal, that's why Mike says bring Mike in. You know, because individual property ownership is still something that's very popular in the United States in most areas. You know, but at the same time, certain problem areas in town are certain problem areas of town. Now, how do you take care of that? I mean, it's very fine line, very fine line.
I get the direction of where this is headed and the purpose of it, but I also agree with Charlie on infringing on people's personal rights. I mean, you don't want someone to come in and tell you you can't smoke in your yard. You know, it's a similar situation, right? So, yeah, like you said, it's a very gray area.
And yet you don't want 2 cars in your front yard.
I see the purpose and I see your,
Well,
absolutely, I get
I
it.
don't want it to look like where I grew up, I'll just be straight.
If I wanted to live in a homeowners association area, I would move to Sioux Falls. Or start my own.
So, so we're going down this path, so what's the legality action to it then? If somebody doesn't abide by the ordinance, do we have something
Hence,
in line for that?
Once it's in zoning, every zoning regulation chapter, whatever you wanna call it, is a $200 fine per offense.
Okay.
Every day is an offense.
Okay.
So if I walk up to you and say, you got 10 cars on your lot, you didn't do anything about it, they're not even licensed, it's $200 today. I'll be here at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning and check you and see if you're done. And if you're not done, it's another
Is that
$200.
stipulated as a 24
Or 30 days in jail. What?
24-hour period?
No, that's not
Or
stipulated.
change of day?
Today, I suppose, once you're notified, right? Then it's a
Well, you can
day.
get a notice at 11:59 PM, and at 12:01 AM, you can get another one, 'cause that's a different day, it's a change of day.
Well, it'll be 24-hour period.
Okay.
It doesn't specify in there. I would assume
Well,
24-hour
I'm
period.
saying we'll have to,
Make that clear.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it says in the zoning ordinance. You could make it $10 per car. I don't care.
yeah, well, I'm just,
You can make it nothing. I mean, that's just what it says. Everything in our zoning ordinance is covered by that. And this is where this would be going.
okay.
No different than our fence one.
okay, so I have another question then. If that's the case and those are the penalties and it's all up to the zoning administrator to do that, is there somewhere in the ordinance or anywhere in there, or anything that gives a process for appealing?
Yes, there is an appeal section in our ordinance. You can appeal any decision made by the zoning administrator. Technically, when you get a variance or conditional use or anything, that goes to the zoning administrator, and that's recommended to go to the planning and zoning and go to the
City council,
Board of Adjustment.
part of it.
Okay, then they make the decision and the zoning administrator hands it out. If you got a problem with anything that the zoning administrator says, like we talked about tonight, somebody said, no, you can't apply for a variance, which that's totally wrong. You have recourse to have an appeal to the whole board.
Yeah, and back to the personal property, this is also protection for people who rent property. Like, Blaine doesn't wanna rent it out to someone who's just gonna continue to park in his yard and destroy the property value of it, because that person doesn't care because he doesn't own it, so he,
Yeah, it definitely has a
Yeah.
purpose and
yeah.
and I totally can appreciate your concern with, you know, it's my property, you know, but I think the intent is just basically to clean up, just to, you know, you use common sense when you park, you know, but there's some people that just don't, and just, I mean, and you know.
If we're worried about people parking on the lawn, let's give them the option of parking on the street.
And I think,
Because there's confusion there, there's discrepancy there, and if you eliminated the time limit for being able to park on the street, there would be no need to park on the lawn.
unless they have, you know, more than, you know, unless there's multiple cars or trucks or pickups and and it's just always a problem, or, just,
Well, this
it
ordinance.
just happens. I mean,
I understand what you're saying, and I think the discrepancy is more in the wintertime than it is any other
right,
time of the year.
right, yeah.
But this particular one says that it has to be your car or a guest's car in front of your property, so we won't run into a situation like we did, 2 years ago, when all those cars were moved off private property and then were lined up along the community center.
Yes.
So here's my question, because this is another blame situation. He bought the house beside the post office. Well, that's not necessarily gonna be somebody's guest parking there,
Yep.
because of the post office or the bank down the street.
Mhm.
So how does that become addressed?
Where's our
That's
map?
B1, isn't it?
That's B1.
But that's an R1. Is it not?
No,
The house that
B1.
sits there?
It's
B1. It's a house
Oh, the
in,
whole street is B1.
it's a house that sits in B1.
One.
And the house across the street is technically rezoned as B1.
Okay.
It used to be, what
So that
you call it?
falls
Pink grasshopper.
Yeah, Pink Grasshopper is B1.
Not-
Actually, B2. I think.
B2, I thought.
No,
I
no,
thought
I
it went
no, I
B2.
get it. No, it's no problem.
So I think that, to answer some of your question there, Terry, is I think that's why he wanted it in, Mr. Fink wanted it in the zoning ordinance part, we put it wherever we want, is because the zoning ordinances are more explicit on handling the situation, otherwise it comes in front of here.
Yeah, like I
And
said,
and it goes through, a process and so forth, and the penalties, and it's also as far as, because quite honestly, he's the one that's gonna get the notice, and he's the one. So I want him here too, is this fair?
Yeah.
Because he's the one that's gonna go before the judge.
And like I said, I get the ordinance and I understand. I personally would never park on my lawn because I care about what the place looks like. But there are people who do
Don't.
not,
I understand that.
and which would destroy someone else's property. So I'm in favor for saving renters' property.
Well, it's like I said in the meeting, that, Randy Kerner, you look at his lawn. He don't drive on his lawn other than with the lawnmower.
Yeah.
He rakes everything to the street and picks it up. Me, I rake it in the pile, and I don't care where it's at in my yard. I'm driving on my pickup and loading it in there. Well, I'm not gonna build a parking pad in the middle of my yard to
Right,
park on
right.
and load leaves. But it's not permanent parking. Just moving through to get my stuff done.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
But it's not a finished product, by all means, add stuff to it. Take stuff away, whatever, that makes it work. The problem is, there's two things you gotta satisfy, that's personal property ownership and keeping your rights, at the same time, making sure Freeman stays clean and looking decent and, there's, the places we're talking about. I mean, that,
Yeah, but why should everyone suffer for the sins of?
I think that
You.
was even said too, wasn't it? I mean, it's hard.
It's a problem, We're
It's
trying to
hard.
come up with a solution that is least,
We come up with something
Problematic.
that satisfies the desire of enforcing something.
the most
with-
amount of people.
with
Are we gonna
rights of
satisfy
property.
everybody here?
It's hard.
No, we are not. Everybody in town, no.
I agree.
No, I get that, I understand that, and I'm not, no, I've quit trying that a long time ago. I'm trying to get as much of the problem, and this ordinance, I felt, was as inclusive and non-offensive or as we could possibly find. And I am open to, there might be better ones, but this is what we found. And, so that's what I would ask. And then I'll get a hold of Fink and see if he can make the 19th or whenever. Capiche?
And if we have to table it for another meeting to work
If
out
we have
some
to,
things,
if he
we can do
can't
that.
come, we're gonna table it for the next, because we're not gonna do this without,
So we got-
I don't want that.
There's a lot in it.
We're gonna revisit the water deposit. We talked about this, I don't know, in fall, and so forth, it's at $100 right now. The ordinance says $100. I'm gonna, you know, the least amount of water bill you can have is $58. That's the cheapest you can get by a month here. We've done a real good job as far as catching everybody up, but 58 and 58 is still $116. We're not that quick. You pay for what you did use. You got 20 days to pay your bill. You got 10 days before you shut off. That's 2 months, basically. If those, I mean, I'm signing them, they're not at 58, and they're skipping after 2 months, and they're, you know, they're 100, they're 200, they're $200. These people, you know, that are, and so I would really recommend moving that up to 200. It's happening, and
Are these rentals, or is that what they, you know?
most of the time.
So is, you know, so
We
the
we have
landowner?
nothing to hook it up to the property owner at this point.
Okay.
We looked at that, didn't we?
Yeah, I thought so.
There's nothing to hook it up to the property owner.
The only thing is, if you'd want to, I mean, we could change the ordinance to allow that, but then if you're a landowner and you run into the same problem, you're the one holding the
Yeah.
bag for not water not being paid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you let them slide and the city doesn't disconnect, you owe the $200-300 and they skip on you, so it'd be a lot nicer to be tied to the landowner.
But it could put an extra burden.
But it's a lot fairer to be tied to the renters.
Exactly.
Right, yeah, because they're the ones in
But
violation.
your landowner could work that into their deposit.
That's it.
You know, most landowners for rentals charge a deposit, so, you know, if it's 1 month's rent, it'd be 1 month's rent plus $200, and then that covers that, and if we have that problem, then the landowner could.
I don't know, like, it got shot down, we brought it up a couple times and just really, it's pretty,
The deposit, this $100 deposit is for rentals. It is not for,
land.
Terry, when you moved into your house, I don't believe you put a deposit down, did you?
Nope, I didn't.
So this is specific to rentals.
And they get it back if they're in good standing, correct?
And, yeah,
So when, you know, I rent a house, or whoever rents a house, they come in and say, I just rented this house, and they switch the water billing from me to them, at that time, they have to give that deposit, is that correct?
yes.
All right,
Mr. Brewer would have had to pay what I'm asking for is he would have had to pay $200 instead of $100.
right.
Well, it's lucky you moved in when you did.
I know. Well, but the whole thing is,
But-
as long as the bill is good standing, when you move out to
Then it's not an
disconnect,
issue.
it's refunded.
Mhm.
It's refunded.
Actually, Terry, yes, you get that back if you're in good if your bill is paid, you
Yep.
get that back. And if you're there 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So let's say, because he's here, Mr. Brewers stays in Blaine's house for 2.5 years. At the end of 2 years, he would get that back.
Provided he's in good standing.
Yes.
That's right.
And it's not just $200 for water, because you're actually getting
It's
three
not
things.
water.
You're getting sewer,
Sewer.
you're getting sewer, garbage,
It's
and
more sewer.
water for the same amount
It's,
of
it's
money.
just, for some people, it's gonna be a bit of a struggle who are.
That,
strapped for
and that's
full.
just where I was
the
gonna
sad
go
part.
with it,
And that's the part that I feel bad for,
it's-
but
yeah,
I also
but
get
it-
our side of it.
It's an unfortunate deal, but I think it's a necessary evil.
Yeah, well,
Just have to be upfront with them when they rent that, well, by the way,
So what is it in other towns? Out of curiosity.
you know, I never looked, John, if you remember.
I mean, I'm just curious, what do other towns do?
Other towns that I've lived in, that I rented houses from, they never charged a deposit. When I lived in Gregory, I rented for a short time, I did not have to pay a deposit. When I lived in Aurora, Nebraska, I rented for 1.5 years and did not have to pay a deposit.
With the city.
To the city.
Did you have to pay a deposit to the owner of the house?
Yeah, I paid a deposit, but not to cover the city, it was 1 month's rent.
But do you know if those cities tied the property owner
I
to
don't.
the water bill?
Yeah, I don't.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah,
It'd be one way or the other.
yeah.
Did you pay a monthly bill?
No, do you understand what I'm saying, Terry?
Yeah.
If they do that,
But I'm
then that
I'm
would
just
cover
saying,
this
you asked
problem.
what, someone
Yeah,
asked what
no,
other
no,
towns are doing, and I'm saying that I have, when I moved to Freeman, that was the first time I ever had to pay a deposit.
Oh, you rented. Oh,
Because I
okay. Oh,
rented,
okay. Yeah, all
Ted
right.
Petey's house. for-
Right.
Yeah, right.
So are you saying that we should double our security, or are you saying 150?
I'm presenting you with the problem. I'm saying, it's the same people. This is just, it's an oncurring problem. It's just an oncurring problem. The other thing our ordinance says, which I guess I should have read a little more clearly, that there are people that have gotten their deposits back after 2 years, and they're not in good standing. In other words, we're shutting them off, shutting them off and shutting them off. We can force that $100, $200 deposit back on them, which
Well, it takes his time to go do it, you know, and some are harder than others, you know.
well, it's just, I mean, it's the same, it's generally,
Over and over.
yeah, you know,
I
there's,
guess.
You're trying to fix a problem.
there's 3-4 times the mayor got caught one time, and he forgot it. I mean, I get it, they're on vacation, it's happened to me. That's not
It's
the
a big
issue.
jump, and I know the people that it's gonna affect, but it's still cheap in the grand scheme of things.
But is it going to affect the people already renting now? Or
Well, they've already
are they
paid their- this
grandfathered
would
in,
be-
or is it
I-
anybody
It'll be
going forward?
grandfathered in for now.
I don't think you can go
But-
back and get money on it.
No, yeah.
If I deem that, if I will talk to Lonnie, my waterhead, and if there's a consistent problem here, and you have gotten your deposit back, you will pay the $200.
Right,
then.
yeah, and that's a different story. That's coming into,
If you've paid your $100 deposit, no, it would be from now on, or from when this would take effect.
So how does that work if one person moves from one rental to the next rental, if they've been in good standings? Is there same
If you're in
thing?
good standing, it's in there, look it up.
Yeah, I was
It's
just
covered, it's
transferring
covered,
yeah.
yeah. If you're not in good standing,
Right. But I'm saying,
You-
if someone does move from one house to the other, they're not gonna have to go back and ante up another $200 just because they moved.
if you're renting from Blaine and have not paid your water bill, and your water's shut
Oh,
off,
right.
you move to my rental, your water's gonna get shut off. You gotta pay that one for us to turn that one on,
But what I'm saying,
and pay the,
if I've been paying good, but I'm tired of his house and the way he treats me there, and I wanna move to another one,
Yeah.
I don't have to pay the $200.
no, you
When I
don't
go to the
pay.
Not if you're in good standing, I think.
Right.
is what
You would
I'm saying.
get that, if you were in good standing, you would get that back. You won't, I mean,
Yeah, right.
it would transfer if that's what you're asking.
That's what I'm
This
asking.
is really a small problem, but it is an ongoing problem, and Lisa Jensen brought it up, and she agrees. One of the ways out of this is to raise that doggone deposit down, so we got a little, we just had one, skipped, and, it's not a lot of money, it's $60, $70, whatever it was, because the deposit wasn't big enough. We're not covered because because we have really tightened it up. There's nobody owing 2, 3, or 3, 4, 5 months anymore. Everything's paid up, but it's still 2 months. We can't act faster than that.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. They come in and ask for water to be turned on. At that time, they give the deposit at that time, is that correct? And this-
Great.
Okay.
I don't have a problem.
Yeah, I
So
don't either.
this, it'd be the first reading, I presume because it would be ordinance change, it would have to be a first reading.
First reading,
We would
correct.
revisit it.
Just have to come up with an amount.
So,
Well, it was written,
Double the amount.
it's written with 200. The first reading is.
Yeah, if it says 200 on the first.
It does, okay.
that we would change, yeah.
No,
And that has nothing to do with the hookup of a new house or anything.
That's another
It's just an honor.
thing itself.
That's a different ordinance.
Yeah.
Police report, Mr. Or did I skip something?
So the police report is pretty self-explanatory. Since April, we've had a little uptick in disturbances and a lot of medical calls. I've been told since I've been here, it was quiet before I got here. Now it's kind of blown up, but yeah, it just shows we got a little bit uptick in disturbances. Other than that, everything's all right. We had a lot of medical calls. So if you have any questions on that, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just for the month of April. Looks good.
I like Freeman so far.
Love it. I do. So, my next thing is on the speed limit signs with Freeman. You guys should all have a thing that I wrote up. I'm just going to read through it and you just follow along. During this month of April, or last month of April, I've been approached and received multiple calls regarding speeding vehicles on Freeman City streets. Myself and Officer Slevin have tried to accommodate these requests by performing speed enforcement on many of these streets. During my patrols of the city, I've observed that there are only speed limit signs at the school and on the outer roadways, 6th Street and Main Street. Even though there is a city ordinance which depicts what the speeds are, there are no posted speed limit signs. With this being said, I would like to recommend that speed limit signs be posted on the following most traveled streets as a trial run before placing limit signs on the side streets, which is Whip Street, Cherry, DeWalt, Main Street from 5th Street going south, and 7th Street. Whip, Cherry, and DeWalt Street should have speed limit signs for vehicles traveling north and south. 7th Street should have speed limit signs vehicles traveling east and west. The biggest thing with vehicle speeding, if myself or Jay stop somebody for speeding on these side streets and it goes to court, it is not going to be held up because it's easy for someone to say, well, there's no posted speed limit sign.
That's why you got one on Main Street.
Right. That's, yeah. It's difficult to have them plead guilty because all they gotta say is that, well, there's no posted speed limit signs. Well, even though it's in the city ordinance, not a lot of people read the city ordinance. I mean, if they get on the website, they're not looking at the city ordinance.
Right.
And some elderly people might not even have internet.
So what is the speed limit on these streets?
Well, it's supposed to, I guess 25. That's what it says in the ordinance.
I'm pretty sure there is one on DeWalt going south from 6th Street going south. I think there's one that says 25.
Yeah, I'm not, from 6th Street going south? Yeah, 6th Street there is one going north.
But if you go south on DeWalt, I think there is one that says 25.
I think Main's 20.
Main is 20.
But that, I could be confusing myself with when we put the speed trailer out there too that says 25, so.
Right, and that's actually gonna start going up this summer.
Good.
Till we can
Put
get,
that on South County Road and put video camera there between the hours of about 5:30 a.m. and 8 o'clock in the morning.
Call the sheriff's
That's fine.
department, ask for rent, that's their road.
yeah. Well, I know Whip Street's another street that people speed on, especially from what, 4th Street going south. That's where I've had a couple
You know,
collisions, so.
25 on, tell you what, that's damn fast.
It is.
It is.
You know, if you think about it, it is. The bike pulls out in front of you.
Especially when you got a lot of kids.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Main Street is 20, you know.
Right, and-
School zone at 15.
Carol, did you pass that out?
Yeah, I set
It's in the
up,
packet, wasn't it?
as part of our Main Street grant application for the DOT, I arranged for a traffic count to be set up, and it's on the last page of your packet. It gives a lot of information about the type of vehicles, different times of day, but we did have an instance in the 20 mile an hour on Main Street where a vehicle drove 37 miles an hour on Main Street, and interestingly enough, our peak time during the week is between 10 and 11 a.m., and this 37 miles an hour was at 10:35 a.m., peak busy time. You might say, well, that's only one car, but only one child, only one resident getting injured or worse. it's pretty serious.
That's why I'm kind of looking at putting in to change the speed limit time from 20 to 15 going through Main Street. Because you have a lot of people coming from Jamboree and people coming out and helping load up and going to the library. And I've seen a lot of people speed through there.
Yeah, it ain't too bad, though, average speed of 14.8.
Yeah.
That's probably taking that 37 in, which, who the hell was that?
I'm just wondering if
That's
there's
fast.
some sort of a call.
But there are also a lot of times where there isn't hardly a car on Main
That-
Street.
that is true,
20
too.
mi- 20 mile an hour is
Yeah.
more than adequate.
Yeah. I mean, the fastest I've had on Cherry Street was
For
50 miles an
sure.
hour.
It was tracking
50?
from
50.
North County to
man.
Fifth, so
Yeah, so.
I
That's
can't,
bu-
I don't know exactly. They have more detailed data that they had mentioned possibly sharing. I haven't received it.
How did they do this?
That's what I'm asking, where do they set this up at?
I think it's like a wire or something that reads it.
It's a vacuum hose with a plug on one end and a reader on the other.
Do we have any extra signs right
It
now?
counts axles,
I'm not
it
sure. Do
counts
you know if
weight,
we have any signs
it
on
counts size.
yourself?
Was it down by your place?
Well, okay, what we
We
need
use
right,
them
for this
we use them on the
particular
counter.
time, if we're gonna do this soon,
Terry was wondering if it was down by your place.
we
I believe
need,
it probably was.
25s.
They knew the bulk
And
of our
another 20.
project
Do we
is
got any?
in the business district though, so I can't say for sure.
I mean, there's no point if, who did that study?
Southwest State.
SDSU.
What did it cost us? Free?
Free.
Say free, I like
Yeah, it should
free.
be free.
It is free to my understanding.
So why don't we give permission to go what our ordinance says at 25 and do a study on the rest of these streets? Because the council sets the speed limit in this town. And if 25 is too much, break it down.
And if
We don't want to buy signs, is what I'm saying. If 25 is too fast, we don't want to buy signs right now.
That's it.
That say 25,
Yeah.
you're gonna reduce it to 20 in a.
Yeah, like I
month
said,
or
do a
two.
trial run and see how it works.
And if you wanted to, these were not that expensive. We could actually buy our own.
Well, we should.
Put it wherever we wanted.
25, if you're going from 6th Street to my house on Walnut, 25 is going to get you in an accident, I'll guarantee it.
Mhm.
I got a lot of kids that play on the street.
I'll tell you, another one that people like to fly through is 4th.
Mhm.
That's your house.
Mhm. Oh, that's a racetrack through there. Yeah,
It's not so bad, the yield sign there, it's the stop sign.
the stop sign.
Stop means go slower in Freeman, you know that.
And they go from from that stop sign and head east. It's like a race.
I think we should do a traffic study and see what our speeds are.
Speeds and numbers, because
Yeah.
that would help. It also helps.
Maintenance.
Also justifies the maintenance of.
Mr. Brewer, did we make your life easier or more difficult?
Probably easier.
So these units, lack of a better word, there's two of them, I'm assuming, because it would time it from here to here.
Or just tying the axle.
Yeah, it's one unit with a double hose.
I'd
Or
check how much
or
they cost and get our
And
own.
what are they, they're like this far apart, two hoses usually, right?
I don't, it's whatever the machine is.
Well, Charlie's right, though. I mean, we
Absolutely.
could get their speed limit taken care of, plus we can find out which streets need to get up the list on maintenance based on the traffic flow of that particular street.
I think that's a great idea.
But for the meantime, I guess, we have an ordinance of 25. If we have signs, I don't have a problem putting them up, but I don't want to buy signs if 25 is going to be too fast.
Mhm.
Go out and buy signs.
Yeah, the posts have to go up regardless, so.
Yeah.
Because once we do that, then we can buy new signs for the ones that you can hardly read. That one coming in on 6th Street may be a speed limit sign, but it is very, very tough to read it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've got a list of that going on too.
Yeah,
The
especially
signs around town.
at a wrong time of the day, you can't read it.
Yeah.
They sure don't make them like they used to, do they?
No, they don't.
There was some talk about them resuming the
I
signing
haven't heard that.
program.
Are they
Thank you.
gonna do
That was
Might do that.
very
Infrastructure.
good of you to do, thank
Hey,
you.
Scott, did you have any interest in that code enforcement class? Did you ever look into that?
I did, but, Jay's not gonna be here at that time.
Okay.
He's gonna, I think he's gonna be up for the next 3 weeks.
Lonnie, we did talk to Andy at the county, and he said the state is got somebody coming around here planning signs for
Yeah,
us.
he just said that. That'd be good. So when they do that, we should be next actually, because they stopped right
Yeah,
before
he said
us.
they're coming, there's somebody supposed to come in here and plot everything out. He said that is back on again.
And that's speed limit, that's stop, that's yield.
everything.
So we want to know sooner
What
rather than later
signs?
what kind of speed we want out there.
Mhm.
Because that's free, right? That grant was free for all new signs, so
Mhm.
I like free.
That sign and this.
And that's street signs too, right?
That's all, every sign we have.
Like signs for like kids to play and stuff like that, across them.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of those signs that were just faded.
Right.
It's just a
A lot-
white
A
piece of
lot
metal.
of that we didn't
Yeah,
get into
free,
because they were supposed to be in Hutchinson County and do us
Oh.
already with the sign. So we've been kind of, instead of spending all this money, somebody else was gonna do it free.
They ran out of money.
Run out of money and now they're supposedly back into it. So
Yeah, and I think the posts, they put in the breakaway posts, whatever, so it's just so they.
Right.
Well, we have that now, but they're square ones.
Yeah.
And the signs are actually a little bigger. Ours are breakaway too right now, but they're just a single. These are the square ones.
So the wind raised havoc with them so bad, you know, they just sit
Yeah.
there and just,
Yeah. And they're old. Well, when did we put them in? That's been a while because,
think
well, the
Vinnie- Vinnie-
memorial was dedicated in 1999, and these were in before that because those
Wow.
posts out there came from the memorial. Those are old street signs, those white posts. So it was before 99. Because that,
Oh, sure,
that
they
took
got
us a
taken
while.
out
That took us
that's
about
right.
6 months to figure out the finial on top, didn't it, Charlie?
that's right.
But they're getting pretty bad too. They're faded.
They are
starting to
faded.
look like your T-shirt instead of the green they're supposed
Yeah.
to be.
You content? You've got her all? Okay. There's nobody here for public input?
Oh, I do want to say one thing.
Sure.
If Randy Kerner's watching, thank you for putting up the mailboxes on Whitman Street. That's taken care of.
Got it taken care of, good.
Wonderful.
Blaine, do you have something? Bring before the other business?
Always.
Always.
I'm just, I had, I think, talked with you about this. This is probably gonna be a question for Paul when he comes down about Main Street. I just had, some concerns at the north end, with the existing trees that are on the east side, the existing sidewalks. He had a question about, if it's gonna be curb there, if you can run his sump pump underneath the sidewalk to drain in, you know, to the curb. So these are some questions that I have to ask Paul. And there's three, you know, because that's a residential area part. It's different than the business part, so, you know, the trees were kind of a big issue for them. I hate to bring this up.
They were supposed to come out when we put that drainage tube in.
Well, I kind of wondered, because I just looked at them, and they're kind of to the west, and there's one big one by Wallman's there. But if that's the case, these landowners, you know, obviously will need to be talked with and.
Well,
I thought you took most of them out.
we took the ones further down, all came out.
we asked every one of them and the ones that were left there, they wanted them trees there.
Yeah, that's, and they want them,
What side of the sidewalk is it on?
on the west side. There's a fire
Is it on their
hydrant.
land or is it on our boulevard?
It's on our.
It'd be on your boulevard.
We can saw them down.
I understand that. They're not wanting that. That's why I'm mentioning it.
Well, how's that one tree there by,
It's in line with
by
water.
Hairbolt's, Dan Hairbolt's, that big one? I know that was a concern when we did Sixth Street, but we kept it. What side of the sidewalk is that one on?
I don't know.
So they may be okay if it, you know, if it's not in the street.
Well, when you get a chance, you know, when you're driving there, just kind of
But
look
you
down.
put curb and gutter and, right, or no gutter there?
No, that
That
was.
should have curb and gutter all the way.
Yeah, all the
And
way.
storm sewer.
Yes,
Yeah.
the storm sewer would be right there.
That tree ain't gonna make it.
That was
Made
my,
it now,
Huh?
we put the storm sewer in the east side, it made it.
so it's there
Unless
already.
the roots up, you think they'll
It's
stay?
there
We
already.
never touched it.
The only thing, saving grace that those trees had was the fact that it was very, very wet
Mm-hmm.
for the couple of years right after that, so they were able to probably
To reroot.
regrow a little,
Mhm.
reroot a little bit.
That
If it would've been dry, they'd have been dead.
I would say make a list and
I got
I'll
it.
make a
I
list
won't
when Paul comes,
elaborate. I just
because he's
wanted
the
to
one
bring
that's
it
gonna
up.
have the answers.
The other thing is, I think we're past the deadline on them containers on.
Yes, I talked to her,
Okay,
and it's getting accomplished, but she has a bad back, and
okay. I apologize for.
I'm too soft-hearted when it comes to that.
Okay, as long as, yeah. And then, recycling, couple things. Sam Sorensen had stopped out and talked to me. He did a project with the Lions Club with collecting the plastic
Sheet
bags
plastic.
and cling wrap and things like that. And if you get, I think it was 500 pounds of it, they made a bench, and this is from Trex. So this is so this would be and we can sign up as a city, as municipality to get one of these. You can get one. The Lions Club has already got one. It took them 2 months, and this just, I mean, you know how light a bag is. They got 1,132 pounds of bags and cling wrap in 2 months. Just imagine how much that is and how much that is in the landfill that they just kept out. And this, like I say, this is recycled Trex, so it is made of Trex. So they're a very nice looking bench, and I will sign up and try to get that because it's going now. He's got enough bags where I think he would just let us take and get a bench, you know. But I think it's a great thing, and you can bale it with the baler that we have, and they will arrange to pick it up. The problem is storage, you know, because they're not going to come pick up 1 or 2 bales. So
We have storage though.
But they want it in perpetuity, or they just want enough for one bench?
no, you take them to a drop-off point, like I believe Sam said his was a drop-off point was Hy-Vee, and I think in Yankton. And then they weigh it, you register it, and once you got 500 pounds, a bench is coming your way.
Right, but one time.
One time for the Lions Club, and then the city of Freeman, from my understanding, can sign up for it too and get one bench from it
So
too.
nonprofits can do this and get a
Yes.
free bench, so we could use the Legion, we could use the
Exactly,
VFW.
and that's exactly what he was saying. That's exactly what he was saying, so, yes,
Is that just once, every 6 months you register for? it?
yes,
Okay.
yep. But that
But they could all register the same month, same.
I don't know. I went on the
Well,
website.
it's different entities.
Right?
But we might be better to stagger them out a little
We
bit.
well, probably take that long to get.
I did
Right.
go on the website. It's a very user-friendly website, and it's all about recycling. But yes, that's what his point was, is that more than one entity can sign up for it, and we could get enough benches for Main Street if we wanted to.
Well, them benches at the
Park or whatever.
park over
Mhm.
here, they were kinda done.
You know,
So,
Breaking down.
so if it's okay, I'd just as soon, just keep going with it then, and we'll.
Yeah, I think
we'll-
so.
Absolutely.
What, does it have on there what it costs if you run out of free? Free.
You know what, he told me, and I'm just gonna say a number, because I think it was like $300 to $400 the bench was. That's what it was worth.
And how big is this bench?
I'm sorry, I don't know. Just a regular bench, you know, just a regular.
I mean, to save it out of the landfill, that's not a very big price to reuse your stuff.
Right, right.
Because a steel bench, like a 4-footer, if you get like we have in the parks, those are close to $500.
Mhm. And this is made of Trex, and I think there was some metal parts in there too.
Some parts,
but,
yeah.
But there's a lot of nonprofits, but I mean, once you pass that, if we still need more benches, that,
So is it any plastic?
Nope, nope, and I got a list. It is very particular, grocery bags, cling wrap, you know, there are certain things. They have to be clean your sandwich bags, you know, things like that. They can't be wet, you know, so there is some sorting, but he said he had no problem doing it. He got a great big bag.
how do you
and puts
keep
it in.
humidity out of it?
That I don't know. I don't think they're that particular, you know.
They don't want to.
Just don't want it soaking wet, one in the middle,
Right.
Don't want to have
Right,
eaten sandwich
right.
to show up
Yeah.
in the middle of one.
full of mold, like those, what they don't want
So,
mold.
so I will keep pursuing that then. I thought that was very interesting how in 2 months they got 1,132 pounds.
It's a lot.
Wow.
Of
Yeah.
course,
That's crazy.
They tried to get that, I mean,
Mm-hmm, right,
it's not just random bringing your sack, it's, we gotta build this up, so.
right, exactly. Yeah, they had a goal and they met it.
Blaine, can I ask, because it changes our advertising about what we accept at the recycling center, so we changed that temporarily, like on Channel 90, and promoted that for them. So,
Yeah,
we took off our no plastic bags,
But
sign.
they're done, or they're
Right.
continuing?
They're, actually, he's still doing it because he wants more other
Okay,
people
'cause
to.
I'm- If we do that, then will our recycle guys take over? Do we want them to? But if he's continuing, then it's not a,
Yeah,
He was, right, he was collecting it at our recycling.
right, he was at our recycling doing it right there.
well, I know, but I mean, if he's done, that's a
And
big step in the process.
It
It's
is,
gone.
and I don't think it was a huge undertaking for him. He took it as an assignment, and I think he'd be willing to train whoever, It wasn't a time-consuming process, from my understanding. I mean, it took time, don't get me wrong, but I mean, but I think he is still doing it at this time, because he knows that they won't go to waste. That's why he came out, to see if we could sign up for it, so he could give us his bags.
Yeah, well, I think we should sign up. He's got one already, right?
Right.
And enough for
Yep,
another bag
yep,
already.
Yep, yep.
So, yeah, just let me know if
Yep.
I'm supposed to put that back out there. I took it off for now.
And thank you, and I'll talk with him just to verify things.
Perfect.
Jim had stopped out about a few things at the landfill. There was a bunch of TVs, he wanted to clean them up. There was an empty trailer. He put them in there, and I commend him for that. He did a good job, it looks better. I asked him about that outhouse and the old
Shed?
there, that we can get rid of them, so maybe sometime, Dewey, I can get together with you and we'll find a place and get them pushed in, because that would make it look a lot better. And he's taking pride in it, so it looks good. Charlie and I have been talking a little bit about the garbage truck. He had recommended an auction site called Purple Wave. I was able to look at it, the website, and I would agree with him 100%. It's a lot of different municipalities that are on there. Sioux Falls uses it a lot. Just all over, I guess,
State of South Dakota.
State of South Dakota is all
Various
over it.
counties in South Dakota are using it.
Yeah, and they had a couple garbage trucks on there that just came out, and they were old and nothing like what we have. So I guess I'm looking for the approval. It's an auction, so
I second your motion.
it could bring $1,000, or it could bring $100,000.
That's
We
right.
don't know.
It's not bringing nothing sitting right where it's at, is it?
No.
No.
Losing value.
Well, there's no reserve, you can't put a reserve
Right.
on
Yeah.
it.
It's been declared
It's the
surplus.
cleanest way to
Yes.
sell government property.
So we have given you, I think at the last meeting, you and Charlie, to go ahead and
Okay.
get rid of it.
Take care of it.
How you do
We're gonna
that,
get her done then. All right.
tell us what the check was worth.
Okay.
You wanna put the sweeper and jetter on there too?
We talked about that too. I didn't see anything like that on there. It was more
They do
driving
have-
things
They
and,
do have sweepers on there, 'cause I've
Okay.
looked at the Elgins that they've had on there.
well, let's do a little research on how it works. Might have to get a guy down to appraise it or whatever he does, and,
Well, somebody will come out and they will take pictures of everything, of the machine. They'll check the hour meter, they'll look at the engine, they'll take pictures of the tires, and they put it all on their website. If you click on their website, you can see what they do. I mean, they do the same standard thing for every item that they sell.
yeah, it was a very nice website. Yeah, so, we certainly can, because I don't know where else we would put that. I don't know who needs a street sweeper, but,
We thought maybe the
Somebody
jetter
does.
would be a Weeman thing, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah, the jetter, yeah, that's what, yeah,
Jetter could go to weed.
Yeah. that's what we thought.
Somebody around here would, but the sweeper, there's
Okay.
many people that
All right, well, we'll get together and we'll get that rolling then. Good. Just one more thing. I'd like to just, I guess, compliment Scott, how you're keeping the truck clean. You know, I appreciate that. It looks nice. It looks good for the town of Freeman. So thank you for
Yeah,
that.
the car wash is broke.
Yeah, you know, he's been washing them at the city there, so,
Of course, 2
yeah.
days later, it's all over again. but-
And one more, and I'll get going here. I stopped in at the community center, and Charlie was working on, I know you were hanging up the speakers, so he showed me the new lighting in there. Wonderful, wonderful. But again, Charlie was there all day, so thank you for doing that. I mean, it's
Screwed up a few things.
it's a
When did we
thankless
get-
job, but you did you do a
But the
lot
lights,
of work there.
the lights do look really nice,
Yeah.
and they're controllable.
But no, you
Are
were
we
there
gonna
all day,
keep
so
the
thank
free
you.
walking through summer, or
Pardon me?
the free walking? When are we gonna?
I don't know, people are using it yet. I mean, I was in there, and they were walking. I guess I don't have a problem with it as long as it doesn't hit as long as they're blocked off of them.
We never opened it up.
No,
It's the COVID.
no.
I guess I don't see the purpose of shutting it down, because there's some people who like to walk that feel more secure walking on that type of surface.
Well,
I don't
especially
care.
recouping.
In the past, we've always shut it down, so.
Yeah,
The fact now, we've got,
More and more are using it for that purpose.
yeah.
and we bumped the lights on the outside now, so that's brighter on the outside, so it's not quite
That's
so
nice.
dingy.
That's very nice. That's all I have.
Thank
Oh,
you.
I got one thing back to the.
Okay.
I talked to Jim a little today, I took some stuff out, and I'm wondering if we should have on the free days to have like either Kenny or somebody else help him, so there's 3 out there and not just 2, because
Yes, yeah.
that's pretty busy for him. Then he asked about taking names, and I says, yeah, we have to take names, because that's the only way we know that we're keeping it citizens only and that we aren't letting other people slip through, so.
Yep.
Having extra people there because it gets busy. So I think we
Okay.
should make a point to at least have 3 there.
3 of them there, yep.
Yes, on the free pass
Oh, yeah.
days.
June 15th.
Both.
Actually,
First
4
2
would be-
Saturdays.
4 would be
Yeah,
better.
I agree, 4 would be better, because you also gotta have people watching what they're putting in there, because there's gonna be a lot of stuff slipped in that shouldn't be, and
5 and 12.
5 and 12, okay.
so I would say, yeah, if we have 2 extra, if it's Kenny and
Okay.
John, or
Okay.
Dewey and Cody, or whomever, but,
All right.
or
Your
something,
handle.
we should look at that.
And that's from noon to 4? The free days?
It's the regular hours,
Yeah, that'd be
Do we
noon
put
to
our-
5.
noon to 5, I think,
Oh,
in
in summer.
summer.
Yeah, that's
In
right.
summer.
When do we change? When's that?
May 1st, or at the beginning of May, I think.
It changed,
Right?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll get to do that. No, appreciate it.
Good one,
That's it, yes, I'm done.
Terry?
On the rubble site, we had talked about moving the building.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still an issue to do that? To move it closer to the pit for sorting and stuff?
Oh,
Because it has
the-
not been moved yet.
The,
That
the,
was
the
over
new,
a year ago.
the new building, yes.
Yeah, in the old building, I can't, and I know I drive by there, but I don't really pay attention. Did we pick up the old building and throw it into the?
No, that's what, no, that has not been done yet, but
Okay.
that's
I don't know
why.
why I found that funny.
We were just talking
We
about
just
it.
talked about it.
So,
So to put the,
the new building closer to the pit, because I think they wanted it there, so it was easier to catch people in what they're throwing into the pit and what they shouldn't be.
so they don't have to be out
Well,
all the
the
time.
problem is-
Have to drive out there or walk all the way out
The
there.
other problem is though, people, if they're that far out, when people come in the gate, some take off over to the steel pile, they can't. Typically, Jim doesn't even use the shed, he's usually in his pickup about
Yeah.
a few feet past, and
Okay,
same
we'll
thing.
do that though. Yeah, no,
Well,
no, the old shed is getting handled before cleanup day.
That's part of
Yes, yes.
The other thing is I think it was 2 years ago, Carol, you were involved with the hospital and they were trying to apply for the grant and they had to do so many city projects. One was they did the bales and bunks on Main Street that everybody complained about. The other one was you guys did a walk around town for safety walk type thing, is that correct? For a walk path?
That was all, yeah, part of the same type of thing, and it was through Healthy Hometown
Yeah.
that the Development Corporation.
What has ever come of that? Because I've never heard anything back on what
Well,
came
it
of
depends, what kind of projects the group did, and then they could apply, within a certain time frame. And I don't believe that group had enough things that fit in the
So
criteria.
it just kind of fell to the wayside.
Right, I mean, the window of time, I forget exactly, it was in 2009, but when it came time, 2019, sorry, 2019.
I'm more.
It was really long ago. No, 2019, the different requirements, there wasn't anything that met it because it's pretty competitive.
Okay.
So some other communities did some pretty big things.
And the reason I ask this is because after our last meeting, we had a lot of people that talked about concern of safety through town, you know. Someone want to send their kids uptown to the library so they can walk, but they don't feel it's safe enough for them to walk. At what point do we as a city look at maybe implementing a walking path throughout the town that walkers can use that as a safe surface to where in the summertime they don't have to feel like they have to use the community center. But that this walking path also incorporates our downtown so kids have a safe passage to downtown, a safe passage to the pool area or to the school, you know. We talked about the safety of what these bump outs can give to our main street. What about the rest of the town and people getting there? I mean, I don't think that we should just stop at that one spot. So I didn't know what that came of and if there's grants out there that provide, I know I drive through a lot of towns and a lot of towns.
And Fish and Parks is the walking path grant. There should be a map somewhere around here of the
Proposed one at one.
proposed one of how many years ago now? It was when we
You
bought
get South Dakota Municipalities magazine.
Yeah.
the,
Did you get the last one?
Range
You
bonds.
maybe haven't looked at it. I
Yeah.
happened to glance.
but
at it.
that one
For
there
other
ended up
reasons.
on North County Road. We
They
don't
just
want
gave
that.
out, Canastota just got 200,000 for.
There is a map,
Just
and it
exactly
tied
what
into
you're
the
talking
Arboretum.
about.
I
There
mean,
were
it made a
And
big
they're
loop.
pretty high, I think it's
Under
like
5,000, communities under
I remember
5,000.
that.
There was just, and my number might be, it was at least 200,000 Canastota got. There was another town, was it Howard? Or, I don't, there were about 5, 6, 7 towns. Divided up the least amount I saw given for walk paths. I don't know because they gave streets and I'm guessing somewhere 4, 5, 6 blocks long.
Yeah.
The least amount given out was 200,000.
Well, with our Sixth Street, it's something that I would like to look into to see if we can get within our town. The problem poses is Sixth Street, because that's a very busy street and it's high traffic and for kids to walk across, so I would guess that there would have to be some kind of stoppage thing that when there are kids there, because there's a lot of kids that live right next to that street that I have to slow down for because they're out in that street. You know, crossing and not paying attention, but if we could have designated areas in 2 spots, because that gets the kids from south side of Sixth Street to the pool area or to uptown in a safe manner.
Well, there are the school crossings there.
One.
And they're not, they fade pretty fast.
Yeah,
So when
they
we
don't.
did our
Yeah.
walking audit, that was a
Well,
big
the
glaring
stripes are gone,
issue,
yeah.
Sixth
Yeah.
Street.
But there were
Yes.
spots. I mean, there was, we painted them for, I don't know if we painted them last year, but they're junked. I mean, they're gone, just like stripes in the middle of the street here.
But even if it's just like a caution sign, a lot of times, you go through T in some of those areas, and if there is somebody within that area, there's a flashing yellow light
Correct.
for a crosswalk.
Very
You know,
nice.
just to give a driver a warning to
Yeah,
slow
there you go,
down, to be there, so.
Well, another sign to add.
But I think it's something to, I mean, if we're looking at trying to make things safe throughout, I mean, why stop at our main street?
No, I agree with you, and I was not aware, it's DTO, or I can't remember what.
DOT?
I'll look at
No, it
it.
wasn't
No,
DOT.
I-
Look at your, south. It's in the
Yeah.
back.
It's a special, it's a grant.
What was
just got
awarded,
it
yeah,
yesterday, so-
yeah, and I, just because for other reasons, I was looking through and I just happened to find that, and I saw Canastota received, 4 or 5 blocks. And
Yeah.
it's kind of up what you're talking about here.
Another
And,
place, I'll call Gregory, because I know Gregory did it, they did a
Yeah, maybe they were.
6-foot wide walking path throughout their whole town that went from Highway 47, I believe that is, Highway 47, which is where the hospital is now, all the way down to the school. It went down past the school, and then it came back up another street that went right past their park, back out to Highway 47. So I know that was usually, but I can call the mayor there, I know I'm good friends with him.
You can look, we'll look, she'll look, and you look at the South Dakota municipalities,
Yeah.
and I didn't even know there was such a thing out there. It was given, I'm sure that was applied for, and I'm not sure what all that entailed, if it was 100%, 50% or what, but,
It's a certain percentage.
But
It's
anyway.
high, it's more than 50/50.
but it's out there. And I'm going to imagine there's gonna be more out there, because they're looking for, so,
Okay, so yeah, I'll call on that,
Yeah.
look into that.
that's good, that's very good.
Yes.
That's all I got.
Mr. Waltman?
We should clean up just some old curbing in front of the library that got put on the side. We should clean that up. And I'm gonna meet with Cody tomorrow. I wanna look at the parks a little bit and see what items we may have to work on, cleaning up like the bath or the shower area, maybe cleaning up some brush around there, maybe put some paint on. Make a list of some things, so that's my plan. The only other thing is I think we have a camera out in the community center. I'm gonna look into that. We may have to replace another security camera. We replaced one here last year. This one here is not communicating, so I'll try to look into that.
When you gonna open the restrooms in the park and the camping area?
Do we?
Greg's just gotta clean them.
Okay.
I've got all the shower heads rotted off in there. They're all live, but he's just gotta clean them and he's gonna open them.
And this one over here too?
Yeah,
Can we
they
look
were
at
all
painting
open.
in this summer?
That's what I'm wanting you to do. That's what I'm-
They were all turned on Monday.
Some people
Okay.
texted
Texted
probably
him.
gonna have-
On Friday, they're getting all the shower heads, new shower heads and stuff and I'll put on.
Now, you brought up, I'll wait till my turn.
Mr. Waltman, that was it?
That's it.
Lonnie, you had asked about is it the American Rescue Plan, the federal monies?
Oh, yes.
It looks like Freeman's gonna qualify. Carol got this information from
Yeah.
me. Looks like we're gonna qualify for like $216,809.
And that's, be able to spend on what?
Infrastructure for sure. I don't have the list.
What I heard though, I heard that it was you could be on streets, it could be on, there was no, it wasn't like the COVID money. The county, they get 1 point some odd million, and they can spend on streets, bridges, whatever.
What was recommended by District 3 for us is to have an account to put the money in, and it looks like our west development project, like water or other things for that, would qualify. And since that's a project we have coming up, they recommended that would probably be a very good thing to use it for. We will get half of that, like 108,000, about mid-June, I think it is, and then we receive the other half 1 year later.
And it's 200 what?
216,
That's nice.
yeah. So, just so you know, that's
That's
also.
the other money we were looking for.
Yeah.
We didn't know. We were hoping that we would be covered out there.
Well, that frees up some for maintenance on the other streets.
Yeah. Gosh, the only other thing I got, I don't know if you happen to see, I think Kello picked up this story, but he said 30% of the EMTs in South Dakota retired over COVID.
Really?
30% in South Dakota.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we didn't lose any, but that's a trend because basically they aged, and you know that they're above 65. A lot of them. They said they weren't going to fight it, so that was their out. But I mean, we're all fighting that battle, so we're fortunate. And then with the payroll thing, I know Mike commented. He said, you know, when I signed checks for the ambulance, I think I got almost all of them, and there was maybe one person that didn't get a check. So everybody.
Awesome.
Scott said there's a lot of medical calls last month, and there was, I think everybody on the crew got involved. So
That's good.
yeah, that's all I've got.
Mr. Gang?
I'm gonna put in a plug for cruise night this Saturday night at May 8th, starting at 4 PM. Everybody come down to Main Street, watch the cars drive around,
is it?
wave. Huh?
When is it?
Saturday night.
This Saturday?
Yeah, this Saturday.
Oh, wait,
Bring out your cars.
Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
That's, that's being prejudiced against motorcycles?
No, go ahead.
I was just wondering.
It's cruise night. Just a cruise night.
I think Michael's gonna sponsor a burnout or something, I don't know.
With his hearse.
I've got a preliminary crack seal and chip seal map here. The street committee will meet and we'll review that and finalize that. And the other thing I have a question, wanna go through, since we didn't get to do this last time, is, next meeting day is Wednesday, May 19th. I'd like to get away from the Wednesday thing. I think we can go back to Mondays or Tuesdays, whatever works for everybody else, but Wednesday night is cruise night for me, so.
I don't care what night, except Monday night on the first of the month, I can't do it because my other meeting, zoning is, in the county is that Monday night.
Yeah.
The first Monday of the month.
The sheet on the front door says second Monday and fourth Monday during the summer.
I personally don't care if it's Tuesday, Wednesday.
We've brought this up. I mean, we've talked about it, and it's temporary and so forth, and actually Wednesdays worked out really well because a lot of these people that show up don't have meetings on Wednesday and so forth. We're gonna need to change something. I mean, we were fortunate because of COVID. I mean, church, we didn't get in the way of church, and I liked it. But we do have to change it. I'm gonna ask that we need to revisit that. We need to figure out when. I really, the second and fourth Mondays though, is just seemingly kind of awkward. I mean, the second meeting is just like, and I don't know what our options are. I mean, obviously, first and third don't work, and that's.
Well, third
that's-
works. It's just the first.
Excuse me, the first,
I mean, you can go the first Tuesday and the third.
and that's fine too, if that's, I guess,
Tuesday's
it was
fine.
it's on my list here. There's something that we need to think about, because we're gonna have to change it back, because I will not go past August Wednesdays anymore, because you're gonna start having church events kicking in, and I do not wanna get in the way of that, I will not. But, what works best and so forth.
The other thing I'm wondering if we should do is go to paying vouchers each meeting. That would help a lot too, because then we don't have that long leg.
Yes.
And for Lisa, I talked to Lisa Edelman, she thought too that if we'd pay them, it would help a lot in several causes, because sometimes they come in last minute, and then she's scrambling. Well, this time, she could push them into the next. It's not such a long.
It was a huge pot.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna go 50-50, but even if you'd get a third of them out.
Right,
Yeah.
and it also eliminates that
Whatever's ready
delay.
at that time.
Yeah.
Right.
And it would,
That also changes, if you go to the second Monday, you aren't
good
at the
idea.
end as bad, because you can get it at the next
yeah.
one.
So anyway, I agree, we're gonna have to revert back, think about it. We've gotta get out of
I would really like
Wednesday.
it to happen now. I'd like a decision here.
You'd like to what?
I'd like a decision here, because this is the third week in our third week already of cruise season. And the close ones are early in the season, so.
Okay. Well, what do you want? Tuesday and,
I don't care.
you wanna go the
That's
first how's that, we're gonna read, first Tuesday and?
When are school board meetings?
Second Monday of the month.
So we go first Tuesday, second Tuesday, or third Tuesday.
Say it again?
First Tuesday, third Tuesday.
I don't know why that one for.
Is that,
I'd rather keep it the same day, because I have to schedule off a month ahead out there.
Yeah, I mean,
So
on the
I can
same, so it's
schedule
Thursday,
out.
Tuesday,
but if we
Tuesday,
go
Tuesday.
Tuesday, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I agree, I don't wanna do Monday of this.
Right, so we go
Tuesday, then I
first
guess we do-
Tuesday, third
Keep
Tuesday,
it the same day.
Yeah,
it's the same day, and
We don't have to remember what,
yeah, we're losing brain matter, right?
More and more every day.
so this would be the first reading. Is that what you're proposing?
Yes.
That we will be meeting the first
Well, I'd like the next.
and third Tuesday of the month. We're gonna ordinance it in, so this will be the first reading.
Do you want to make a motion then to move the next meeting to the Tuesday already?
Yes.
We can do that.
So
May.
is that your motion?
I will make a motion. Have the next meeting date be
18th.
Tuesday, May 18th at 6:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second.
Caldwell,
Euchre,
Just a minute, I'm checking my schedule. Yes. I'll be late though.
Waldner,
Yes.
Gehring,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
sorry,
Yes.
Jaden.
Yes. If you'd have said no, I'd have fell out of my chair.
Well, and if you wanna go right along to Orange City next week, why not?
So we had our
Tulips
first,
out.
Tulip Festival.
so we had our first reading and the motion. Is that?
Well, no. First reading to permanently do it.
This was the first reading.
Wednesdays was against, we had to technically make a motion every meeting because our ordinance
Ordinance
says
said.
second Monday, fourth
So
Monday.
now we'll change the,
This is, and Mike's talking about changing it permanently to Tuesday.
right, okay, good.
And that's first reading what he was talking about.
That's what yeah,
Yep.
if we're gonna do it,
Do it, yep, exactly.
get it all done.
Mhm.
I mean, it makes no.
That's
so,
what, yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Okay. Mr. Jaden?
You know, I had something I was gonna ask you about, but I forgot all about it. Just like
Dewey.
No, you.
Oh, okay.
There was something with policing. I can't remember what it was.
Well, I have something for him, but he can see me later.
Oh, the park. Weren't you gonna come up with something a little better for the deposits on, or for how to pay for camping?
I got it in my pickup.
Okay.
I just gotta get his key to open that other one so I can take it off.
Oh, no.
There's money in that thing, you
So you got it handled.
don't Yeah, he's got a nice little box.
Okay, great.
Put it in there, went over there, put it in there, and I said, no, I can't get it in there, but it works.
I'll give you the key. I'll give you the key.
That's it.
Okay. My other business was revisit meeting schedule. Dewey?
The only thing I would like to try to get a hold of McGuire and the other two tower people and try to get them in here so we can talk with them on getting our towers put up, back on the water
Oh,
tower.
the antenna.
The antennas.
Yeah, that should get done sooner than later. See if we can get together. Get on them.
Talking about it and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they're still having a hard time radio wise.
There's no excuse we don't get those two entities together to get this straightened out.
Is it due to that, because we lease our water tower, is that right, or?
No. We own the water tower, but the maintenance is leased out.
Maintenance is leased, and that's the problem is between the maintenance and
Who's gonna
Vantech or
install the
two-way.
brackets?
Who's gonna install the brackets?
it's-
McGuire Iron wants to install the brackets because they're responsible for the paint and all that
Mhm.
stuff. And who is it, Two-Way or Vantech?
Vantech.
Vantech wants to put up the wire. They're kind of fighting, so we need the actual owner to step in and say, no, this is how it's gonna be, we're paying the bill.
Right.
And there's a price discrepancy too.
You bring him to a meeting, Dewey? Get him here. 18th. Not the 19th.
Tuesday.
This next meeting. I did talk to Chad at Mueller Pellets, and he's gonna try to get us in here to get these trees.
I was gonna ask about that.
He, still with the COVID, and everyone's got a bunch of trees, and we got other people trying to get into the mulching, that kinda unreputable. And I called him up, talked to him a little bit about it, and he said, yeah, there's about 3 other companies trying to get into it. There must be money into it right now, so they're trying to get in there and push everybody
You're talking out here?
out here.
Yeah, it's getting pretty tough to drive around that.
We just need one storm and we're in big trouble.
But he is working on that, he apologizes.
But he's still planning to.
Yep, he said.
Because that's my next question, could we rent one and grind it ourselves if that's nothing else? I mean,
A lot of money in renting one.
I know, but
We're
we,
in Yankton right now.
well, see if we can get them.
But he come in here through springtime when we finally
about
got
that?
one by rain and it was soft, and it kinda went by here.
What's the deal with that big pile of chips?
That's from Northwestern.
Northwestern, and we're using,
They're leaving it, or?
no, yeah, we're leaving, and we're using them in the park and stuff, and we're thinking too, if we plant trees out at the golf course around that area stuff, just to put it on the little whippings and stuff, just to give them a chance to grow. 'cause they're free.
Pile there that.
There's a big pile.
Yeah, I have a feeling once they grind, it'll go on there and it'll-
We wanna keep a bunch of it though for using, so.
we can pull some.
But citizens can go take what they.
Absolutely, yeah, it's no different than the compost,
I don't know if anybody's aware of that.
but yeah, if they need wood chips, go for it.
There's nothing else, we'll go into executive session.
Charlie, you're the man.
Move to go into executive session pursuant to personnel, pending litigation, contract negotiations.
I don't think we'll do anything, Johnny. If there is, we'll call.
Second?
Sounds good.
Second.
Aye. All right,